Hey, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you like this epic content we are throwing up. And remember, hit that notification bell anytime I upload a video. And lastly, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. That being said, comic book fans, let's begin. In the next episode of Transformers Declassified, I'll be diving into Transformers the animated movie. In this episode, I'll be looking into why this movie was so divisive and why I think it was a masterpiece. Let's get into it. Although many critics have argued that Transformers the movie has a weak story, there are many others who see Transformers as an epic tale of good versus evil, of genuine heroism in the face of immense peril and redemption. The script has parallels to Arthurian legends and mythological references, as well as references to such work as Mice and Men. While the story borrows many basic themes from Star Wars, this can be said of many sci-fi adventure movies, which only shows that these are very powerful themes. These themes include the power of the individual, that one seemingly unlikely person can make a profound impact upon the outcome of the universe. On the distant planet Lethune, there lives a race of intelligent robots who live in peace and tranquility. Their daily activities are interrupted one day when a giant metal planet with horns and a mouth appear in the sky. As it gets closer, a beam of light fires out of its orifice, tearing away at the planet's surface. Entire cities are crumbled and pulled into the object's gigantic mouth. The two large horns on the monster planet act as teeth to pull Lethune closer into its digestive system. Witnessing this apocalyptic catastrophe from Lethune's surface are Kranix and his friend Arbelus. They know what the monster is. He is the omnipotent robotic being known as Unicron. Realizing that their only hope is to evacuate the planet, they rush to their shuttlecraft. As Lethune is crumbled into billions of smaller pieces, their shuttle attempts to escape Unicron's powerful pull. Kranix's shuttle managed to break free and fly away, the only evidence left that there ever was a planet called Lethune. Meanwhile, in the year 2005, another race of robotic beings live in a quite different lifestyle, one of the timeless civil wars. A group called the Decepticons had driven their enemies, the Autobots, off their homeworld planet of Cybertron. Optimus Prime, the leader of the Autobots, plans to reconquer his homeworld by setting up strategic bases on Cybertron's 2 moons. Despite his troops' eagerness to strike, he awaits the arrival of more energon, their basic fuel, from a shuttle due back from Earth. Little does he know, however, the Decepticons have already attacked the shuttle and plan to use it to attack the Autobots' fortress on Earth called Autobot City by slipping past their defense systems. The Decepticons attack Autobot City with great force and manage to defeat most of the Autobots there. A young Autobot named Hot Rod and his aged friend Cup almost get trapped outside the fortress barrier. From within the city, the Autobots try to use whatever limited weapons they have to drive away the Decepticons. In a desperate plea for help, the Autobots send a distress signal to their leader Optimus Prime. When Optimus Prime arrives, he finds that the Decepticons have penetrated the outer defenses of the city and are advancing deeper within the station. Utilizing all the courage, strength, and force for which Optimus is famous for, Optimus drives directly towards a pack of Decepticons, taking out a good number of their troops. Then he faces his nemesis Megatron, the ruthless leader of the Decepticons. The two timeless foes engage in personal combat, and after a brutal fight, Optimus manages to get Megatron pinned to the ground. Megatron pleads for mercy while stealthily reaching for a small blaster on the ground out of Prime's range of vision. Hot Rod sees what Megatron is about to do and jumps on top of him. Megatron grabs Hot Rod, uses him as a shield, and fires the weapon at Optimus's already damaged area, knocking the Autobot leader down. Optimus uses the last ounce of strength to knock Megatron over a cliff, ending the conflict in a standoff. The Decepticons, with their leader down and most of their troops badly damaged, retreat back to Cybertron. On his deathbed, Optimus Prime passes a sacred object known as the Matrix of Leadership to his comrade, Ultra Magnus. Optimus foreshadows that an Autobot shall rise from our ranks and use the power of the Matrix to light our darkest hour. Prime utters his final words until the day till all are one as his colors fade and he deactivates. On the shuttle back to Cybertron, the Decepticons throw overboard their badly damaged warriors in order to lighten their load. In doing so, the Decepticon commander Starscream throws his fallen leader Megatron out in space, an attempt to usurp his position of command. While floating endlessly through space, the barely functional Megatron is pulled towards Unicron, who tells him that he has been summoned there for a purpose. Unicron proposes that Megatron destroy the Matrix for him in exchange for a new improved body and new troops. Megatron reluctantly agrees and is given a new identity, Galvatron. Galvatron with his new warriors, Cyclonus, Scourge, and the Sweeps, return to Cybertron and reclaim their title among the Decepticon ranks. Galvatron settles a personal score by venting his new destructive power upon the distrustful ally, Starscream. The other Decepticons are so impressed with Galvatron's abilities that they willfully join him in his quest for the Matrix. Then they go to Earth to try to capture Ultra Magnus and the Autobots. The Autobots flee just in time, and the Decepticons pursue them further into the galaxy. Hot Rod and Cup are separated from the group and crash on the world of the Sharkticons and their masters, the Quintessence. They are put on trial for no apparent reason, found innocent, and then convicted anyways. Ultra Magnus and the rest of the Autobots crash on a planet called the Planet of Junk, and before they can repair their craft, they are hunted down by the Sweeps. Ultra Magnus lures the Decepticons away from the group and confronts Galvatron. Instead of trying to defeat his enemies, he tries to open the Matrix to save himself. For some reason, he is unable to open it, and the Sweeps blow him to bits while Galvatron takes the Matrix. The Dinobots, with the help of their new friend Wheelie, save Hot Rod and Cup from the Sharkticons and convince them to rebel against their crew enslavers. Our heroes then steal a corkscrew-shaped Quintessence ship and go to the Planet of Junk, where they find the other Autobots being hunted by the planet's inhabitants, the Junkticons. They learn that their entire language consists of jumbled Earth TV jargon and establish a friendly communication with them. Galvatron takes the Matrix to Unicron, knowing that it can destroy him. In an attempt to defeat his partner-turned-enslaver, Unicron demonstrates his true power by transforming into a giant monster robot. In a display of superior force, Unicron then begins tearing Galvatron's homeworld of Cybertron apart. The Autobots arrive at the scene to find most of the Decepticons on Cybertron, fleeing the wrath of Unicron. They enter Unicron through his left eye, and Hot Rod is separated from the group deep within Unicron. Hot Rod confronts Galvatron, who then begins firing on him. Hot Rod knows that Galvatron possesses much more power than he does, and he runs and hides from his enemy, realizing that all he needs to do is get the Matrix from Galvatron. Hot Rod transforms into car mode, turns on his high beams, and drives directly towards Galvatron. Galvatron grabs hold of him, and before crushing Hot Rod to death, Hot Rod manages to grab the Matrix away from Galvatron while holding the Matrix. Hot Rod hears the voice of Optimus Prime telling him he is to become Rodimus Prime, the next Autobot leader. The Matrix gives him a surge of power, and Hot Rod is transformed into a stronger, larger robot. Using his newfound strength, he disposes of Galvatron by throwing him straight out of Unicron. Then he opens the Matrix, fully uttering the words, "Now light our darkest hour." The energy within the Matrix escapes and causes a chain reaction within Unicron, destroying him from within. Rodimus Prime leads the Autobots inside Unicron out of the giant's right eye, leaving Unicron blind. Unicron cries the words, "Destiny."
Destiny. You cannot destroy my destiny.
Then Unicron's head blows off with the rest of his body. The Autobots reunite on the surface of Cybertron, and Rodimus Prime promises a new age of peace and happiness. The final shot of the film shows Unicron's head still in orbit of the mostly devastated Cybertron. My thoughts as a massive Transformers fan is this. Besides Star Wars, this movie was my first exposure to sci-fi, and why sci-fi is my favorite genre. Now this film is divisive from the killing of Optimus in the beginning and the opening scene to Megatron being reformatted into Galvatron. But you have to look at it this way. By Optimus Prime dying in the beginning, which mind you, at that point in American animation, hadn't been done before. Like you watch any animation prior to this movie dropping, nobody died. None of the good characters ever died. And it was such a shock. I remember watching it and I was like, in shock, like, oh my god, they killed the main character. It wasn't just a good character. It was the main character of the show that was good. It was just so mind-blowing. And I really loved they took the storyline in that direction. They really set the stage on where they were taking the story on a grander stage in the Transformers universe. Now I know what the biggest critique was, whether it's from the fans or the critics. The biggest critique, what made this so divisive, was all the main characters that were in the G1 series that were put in the movie, whether it was Decepticons or Autobots, they were all killed within the first 15-20 minutes, including Optimus, right? Which was mind-blowing. And it rubbed people the wrong way. But it didn't rub me the wrong way. See, I have a different opinion and mindset, and I could see where they were going with it, right? I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're just sellouts, they were just trying to, sell more toys. And yes, I think that was part of it, but I think there was a grander scale of storytelling that they wanted to tell, and Beast Wars was one of them, right? Which is one of my favorite series out of all the animated Transformers series. That is one of my favorite. And could they have told that story without, taking the route they took in Transformers the animated movie? They were really bold in what they did, and it enabled Hasbro to really tell more unique, more complex stories. But I want to know your thoughts on this. Did you hate this movie? Did you like this movie? Tell me the reasons why that you hate it, or tell me the reasons why you liked it. Tell me in the comments below. And stay tuned for the next episode of Transformers Declassified.